Hi there, Airsoft and YouTubers. It's your weird Uncle Kenny again with another Airsoft review from his kitchen. First off, let me explain. It's been a little while for several reasons. We have just been hit by the hardest winter in 45 years here in Scotland, hence the winter plumage. Also, I managed to break my foot in a bizarre sparring accident. So I haven't been able to play Airsoft for 6 or 7 weeks now, although it's healing nicely now. So sorry for the enforced break. If you didn't care, then screw you anyway. Okay, today we're going to be looking at something a little different rather than the usual M4 clones. What we have here is the SRC SR36, which, as you can clearly see, is a Heckler & Koch G36 clone. Made by the SRC company, Star Rainbow Company. Lovely. Okay, what can we say about this? First off, feels very solid, very heavy. It's actually about 3.2 kilos, which is pretty hefty for an Airsoft G36. I think it's because it's got this machined aluminium skeleton and barrel and so forth. There's a fair bit of metal in here. The gearbox as well is an 8mm bearing, ball bearing gearbox, so it must be a pretty hefty construction as well. Of course, the plastics are your nylon fibre stuff and heavy duty ABS that you would expect from any decent airsoft gun, and it feels very nice, very sturdy. I've never, to be honest, I've never actually seen a bad G36 clone yet. I've owned several. Right from the original TM when it first came out, and I've had a couple of other types, and this, I have to say, is very nice. Feels very sturdy, good in the hands, reasonably hefty but not too heavy, and they always feel very tight. I think it's more the design of the G36 in the first place rather than the Chinese and Taiwanese companies getting it just right. It's a very sturdy design in the first place. Now, as I said, it's got an 8mm gearbox. It's got an ultra high torque motor, which is, I would imagine, okay. And of course, the front handguard is where you put the battery. Now, these are built to take a mini battery originally. It was always a problem with the original G36. They're trying to cram a battery in here under the barrel. All you could get in was a mini battery. Now, if you play Airsoft at all regularly, you'll know a mini battery will last about half a day of good usage. So you had to then poke out this pin here, slide this off, change the battery, slide it back on, get the pin back in, usually at lunchtime, and that was a pain in the ass. So what happened was companies released aftermarket handguards, which were actually slightly larger, slightly bulkier, and what that allowed you to do was fit something like this in it. This is a large battery. This is a 3700, this would last you almost a weekend. And it would just fit with the larger handguards. Although, of course, that threw off the look of the gun. So, what can you do? You have to trade off. So, now, ta-da, we have LiPo batteries, which give out as much power and even faster rates of fire, and they fit in the standard handguard. So this one here is now equipped with a LiPo. So I'll let you see the rate of fire, and that's with the small LiPo, the 7.4 volt, is it? So not bad at all. You don't have to go and buy the big handguard now. Now, also, this comes with the rails on the front here. There should be 3 rails on this, but they were removed, all except this one, because all they do is add weight. To be honest, if you play Airsoft, you generally go through sort of 3 stages of Airsoft. First stage, when you first get your own gun and it's just amazing and you could care less, it's just great fun anyway. The second stage is when you add everything to your Airsoft gun. You want more rails, you want an aim point, you want a laser, you want torches, you want a barbecue, you want all sorts of stuff. And the third stage, which you will eventually reach if you haven't already, is where you realise that all it does is adds weight to the gun, and you will hate adding weight to your gun because you'll have to hump it around. So what you do is you end up stripping almost everything off the gun that you do not need or will not use on a regular basis. And that's what's happened here. Most of the rails been stripped off. Now, you'll know anything about G36s, you'll know there's a variety of G36s. You'll get the ones with the built-in scope and the larger rail, the split rail on the top. You get carbine versions, you get small, long, the heavy duty machine gun ones, all sorts. This for me is the best all-rounder. It's small enough to go anywhere, it's got the range and the power to be used on an open field, but CQB is not a problem. They all come with these folding stocks, which keep them out of the way, so you can use them, it doesn't get in the way, unless, and here's the bugbear folks, unless you use these crazy G36 magazines with the lugs on them. Let's talk about that for a minute. G36 mags have always been an issue for people because of these lugs. Now they're designed so that you can simply click them together and make a row of 2 or 3 so that you can have them on your gun at all times, and all you do is swap is just move it along one. And in theory it's a good idea, it saves you buying mag clamps and things like that. But to be honest, it's a nightmare for most people. What happens is, with all these lugs, you will struggle to fit these in normal mag pouches, and you will struggle to get them out of normal mag pouches at any speed. So that's not good. Also, there aren't that many people who play with mag clamps and clamping their magazines together. It's not really something you need to do, to be honest. Especially in these days when everybody's learning all these mag pull techniques for quick changeovers and so forth. So, not a lot of use for it. I've seen people who have actually hacksawed these off, smoothed these lugs off so that they'll work. What is far easier to do, and what I did with my G36s, was change the mag well here. This part here comes off with one pin, slides out, you buy a replacement mag well for about 15 quid. It slides on, clips in place, pin back in, and that's you converted. The gun will then take M4 or M16 magazines, and everybody's got M16 magazines. I've got about 15 or 16, I think my mother's got 2 or 3. Everybody's got M4 magazines. And so, if I bought this right now, I would buy a 15 quid magazine, magwell change, rather than spending 50 quid buying 3 or 4 of these. Why bother? Difficult to use, and just an all-round pain in the ass as far as I'm concerned. Still, there you go. Now, in use, the G36, excellent gun, nice and sturdy, reasonably accurate for a barrel this length. Just like the real G36, everything's ambidextrous. You got ambidextrous charging handle, which reveals the hop up here on the side. Full metal hop up on these ones, on the SRCs. You've got your ambidextrous fire selector for single shot and full auto, and you've got your ambidextrous magazine release. Now, an innovation on this one, which wasn't on the original TMs and so forth, is actually this little lever here by the trigger, which allows you to pop the magazine out with your actual firing hand, so that you can do your genuine mag pull rapid changes where you go for your mag and drop the other mag out, and that's you. If you want to leave a trail of magazines behind you in CQB and look very cool, then that's the thing for you. It's a nice little innovation and it's good to see it. So there we go. What else can we say about G36s? As I say, you want to go for the ones with this kind of rail. You'll see the ones with the built-in sight and the split rail. It doesn't matter what length, you'll see that variation. They're crap, to be honest. It's like looking through a door. It's like one of your little door viewers. It's absolutely useless as a scope. It's tiny, it's dark, you can't get your eye down to it, particularly if you're wearing a mask, or even if you're wearing just specs. Trying to get down that low against the gun is a nightmare. With this kind of rail system, be it this length or the full length, ideal, because it's already raised and you've got the full length here. You could put something like an aim point on here and you'll get to it no problem, even with a mask. Or you could put something like a, I don't know, a hollow sight, and because you've got the length here, you could put a hollow sight and a magnifier. There's nothing stopping you doing that. You've got this full length rail here, ideal. So remember, go for this type, not the ones with the built-in scope in the rail. They will do your head in. I sold my last one of those recently. Glad to see the back of it. So there you go. That's the SRC SR36. It's not the G36, remember. It's the SR36. And it's a nice rifle, really sturdy, good weight. As I say, I've never really seen a bad G36. You're not going to go far wrong. as long as you buy the ones with the proper rail, and you get yourself a LiPo battery for it fitting in the handguard. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and set up a little shooting demonstration just to check the accuracy. So let's go to that now.